And we're back. Episode 8 of the Quarantine Show is a go. And we got a fun one here for you guys. We got 6 beers in total today. That's going to be quite well, yeah, 6 beers. 6 beers in total. So it's going to be quite the show. Rob, how are you, man?
Doing good, man. Always.
Awesome. Yeah, before we jump into everything, as always, Rob, you want to give us the rundown on where people can find us, contact us, all that good stuff?
Absolutely. Untapped, follow us at Dub Beer Bros. That's our handle. Email us, dubbeerbros@gmail.com. Listen to our past podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor. We're all on there. Follow us on Twitter at dubbeerbros1, Instagram at dubbeerbrospod, and then like and follow our Facebook page. It's just Dub Beer Bros.
Absolutely awesome. Yes. Follow us there. We got a bunch of great stuff, and we have another great one here.
Absolutely.
Rob is he's become quite the world traveler here the past few weekends. He's been all around the Midwest. Rob, you have Lakefront Brewery today, 3 beers from there. You want to introduce which ones you'll be reviewing today?
Absolutely. We're doing a little IPA day. So we're doing a hazy, regular IPA, and then it's an American Red IPA, fixed gear. So
yeah, Lakefront Brewery, great brewery. Definitely one of our favorites in Wisconsin. So awesome. And then for me, we got a bit of a hodgepodge day. We got Tooth and Claw from Off Color. We have End All IPA from Solemn Oath. And then we have from Hopewell, Table Salt, which is a Goes style sour ale. So quite the interesting mix today.
For sour.
Yeah, I don't think we've done any sours. Maybe a beta. They were considered one, but whatever.
Yeah.
We can get into that later. Well, not really. We're not going to get into it later. Just kidding.
No.
All right. Yeah. Let's jump into it, and then make sure to stick afterwards. We're going to continue our who we would get a beer with series. So if you're enjoying that, stick around. Rob, who's going first here? We didn't really decide this.
Let's we're gonna switch it up since you usually go first. I'm gonna go first. So my first beer I'm starting out with is Hazy Rabbit. Like I said, I'm doing Lakefront. Made a little trip up there. They have great service for curbside, by the way. Great experience. You pull up there, you park your car. You do go up to a table that they do have set up. Everyone's wearing masks, though. It's completely safe. And I got a lot of beer. I got like one of those flight pack things, along with like 4 other 6-packs. So I made sure to load up, and also, since it was Wisconsin, I had to get my hands on some cheese curds, which were delicious.
Necessity.
So, like I said,
did you go to Toppers?
I did not. I'm sorry, Joe. Might have to make a trip back.
Okay, I'll come with.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't want to go too deep into Lakefront, because I'm sure we'll do a pod on them all together.
Yeah.
But just a little fun fact: it was started by 2 brothers from Milwaukee that were very competitive, and they competed against each other to try to create the better beer. So I thought that was really interesting. So let's crack open that first one.
Bottle today.
So we got Hazy Rabbit. So kind of a interesting bottle design. I don't know. I think he looks kind of sad. The rabbit.
Yeah, he does look. Oh, he kind of he kind of looks like a little dazed out, like daisy hazy.
Right.
Perhaps.
So per the beer description, it's a healthy dose of flaked oats that give Hazy Rabbits its smooth, creamy mouthfeel, while heaps of late boil Idaho 7, Mosaic, and Citra hop additions saturate every juice swig with ripe citrus and tropical fruit flavors. Wow, that's a great description.
That is a great description. I have had this beer before, but I'll let you decide first before I give my talk about it.
Okay. So right off the bat, I mean, it does have that typical hazy, opaque look. Joe's favorite word.
Opaque.
It's very. I mean, it looks like orange or pineapple juice. To be honest, it's.
Yeah, but definitely kind of see like a definitely pineapple juice kind of look to it. Yeah. Pretty much on par for most hazy beers.
Right. Very juicy right off on the smells. Definitely has that typical, I feel like, hazy IPA smell to it and look to it. Let's see, looking for one thing. 6.8% for the ABV. So it's kind of lower for an IPA, I don't think.
Yeah, I feel like hazy IPA is kind of more lean towards a lighter ABV.
True, because it's not that typical IPA taste.
Yeah.
So, but there's only one way to find out.
There's only one way to find out.
Extremely juicy. Definitely has that creamy mouthfeel that talks about in the description. Very obviously citrusy. It's kind of your typical hazy IPA. I think it's maybe a little more juicy though, as opposed to some hazy IPAs which are more dry. I don't think it doesn't really have the dryness that I associate with hazies. But it's still very tasty. I think if you hold it on your tongue a little longer, you get a little bit of the dryness, but maybe just a hint. Okay. But more so juicy and citrusy. Like I said, very tasty.
Okay. Seasonality wise, I mean, most of the hazy IPAs have been kind of that spring, summer, or are you kind of feeling the same way with this one?
Absolutely. It's definitely your typical, I feel like, beach beer. That's kind of what you could even, I feel like it could even be a barbecue beer, which I kind of want to go like into my food pairing. You could pair it nicely with, I think with like a pork sandwich or some ribs. I mean, I think with a lot of hazy IPAs, you can really pair it with a lot of different things. I'm a fan of this though. I usually like my hazy IPAs more dry, but this is still very tasty and might be my new favorite Lakefront beer.
All right. And score-wise, what are we going with for this one?
It's good. I'm a fan of it. I am going to go with a 3.73.
Hazy Rabbit getting a 3.73 to start off the show. Very nice. Any last notes on that, or?
Just curious what your thoughts are, because you said you.
I think 3.73 is pretty much kind of around that wheelhouse. I would rate it too. I think it is a very, very delicious hazy beer. One of my favorites that they've had that I've had from Lakefront. They actually had a Go style beer that's probably my favorite, but I can't for the life of me remember the name of it. But yeah, I think that is a very good beer from them. I mean, they make pretty good beers all around. So
they do.
Yeah, their Hazy Rabbit is top notch.
Awesome.
All right, on to mine here. First one for me. We're going to Off Color Tooth and Claw. Off Color has kind of become one of my kind of like low key favorite places to go. Their Mousetrap Tap Room, kind of near Old Town, is a place we tend to frequent. Just a very, very kind of like chill vibe out there, especially during summertime. You get that outside seating area, and kind of just the area it's around is just there's not like a whole lot going on, but it's just a very nice area with a good view of the city and stuff like that. So if you haven't been, once this thing opens up, or if you want to do curbside, check it out. For the beer itself, Tooth and Claw, if you take a look here, you can see Sue from the Field Museum.
I like it.
And the reason why Sue is on this is because Off Color and the Field Museum collaborated together to make this beer. It is, according to the description, a crisp, clean Pilsner with a dry hop bite, far inferior to Sue's. Now, interesting enough, on their can it says a dry hop lager, so take that as you will. ABV on this is 5% on the dot. For the malts, they have Pils, Carapace, and Pale malts, and then hops, Magnum, Pearl, and Tettnanger. Then, according to their secret ingredient, it is Discovery. So, fun stuff there. Definitely cool. Let's go ahead and. Oh, a little delayed, but yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Still a little bit on me.
The description makes me want to do curbside. I mean, I think I got to make a trip myself. So
I can send you the route I took, man. Let me give that a little bit of time to fizz down a little bit and pour another little bit in there.
Looks like a pretty good foam head.
Yeah, it's got a nice little foam head there.
I like that.
Yeah, if you take a look, I mean, this is kind of similar to a lot of what we've seen with a lot of Pilsners and lagers. Very clear. You can see right through it. Very bubbly too, if you could see kind of the bubbles floating up there. Definitely.
I was just gonna say, it's
kind of one of the more bubbly beers we've had in a long time, I would say.
Especially for like a lager or Pilsner,
still going.
Whatever which one it is, but it's very foamy for.
Very foamy. And that might have been my pour, I don't know, but I think it is just a very bubbly beer. I mean, you could still see the bubbles going here. Smell-wise, again, it's right along the same lines as kind of what I've been saying about a lot of other Pilsners. The smell, I don't think for Pilsners or lagers are really going to be that much different as opposed to an IPA, just because they're all kind of along the same lines in ingredients. But still, I mean, just from the smell, I can definitely tell this is very clean and crisp and will probably be very enjoyable. But there's only one way to find out. Let's get to it. Ooh, that is delicious. So I think some kind of like common stance I have taken on the last few Pilsners and lagers I've done is I've said, oh man, like it doesn't really taste that much different from a Miller Lite, like, you know, all that jazz. This one is different. This one does not really have that Miller Lite taste, which is kind of funny. I'm drinking it out of a Miller Lite glass, but let's ignore that fact. Definitely very clean and crisp, very delicious. I'm trying to like kind of put my tongue on it where maybe it's a little bit sweeter, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a little bit more sweeter than I would say, kind of more that it is just crisp, but this is also still crisp. Gosh, yeah.
Dry.
What's that?
Dry. What about the dryness?
It has a little bit of dryness to it. I don't really taste it as much. I think it is just
more crispy.
I think it is just more crispy than I would say.
It's crispy boy.
But man, this is delicious. I'm trying to there's another flavor to it. I'm trying to kind of pinpoint. And like I feel like if I had like another one with me, I could kind of like maybe figure it out. But yeah, this is very delicious. Off Color knocking it out of the park once again. Excuse me.
You're making me want to go there next weekend.
We're gonna have to check it out, man. Shit, I'll go with you. Well, I gotta drink the rest of my beer. My parents told me I can't buy any more beer until I drink the rest of it. There's a lot in there.
Okay, I guess if you insist.
Suppose. All right. Moving back to Tooth and Claw though. seasonality wise, I think this is kind of one of those you can maybe not in the winter, but fall, spring, summer. I think this is a perfect beer for that time of year. Um, I think it's just so crisp. The flavor is not necessarily pinpointed to one kind of season. It's just a very solid, very good beer. Um, yeah. If I'm going to go with a food pairing, yeah, I do feel this along the lines with a lot of pilsners and a lot of lagers that you could really just eat this with about anything. But again, that's never fun. So let's get interesting with it. All right, we're gonna go with. And I mean, again, you can really do it with anything. But if I'm gonna have this beer with something, it's from Chicago, so I'm gonna go with the most Chicago thing I can think of: Italian beef.
Hot dog? Okay. All right.
Italian beef.
I like
I mean, that's my go-to Chicago food. But not only are we taking the Italian beef and the hot jarred, but we're going to throw that on top of a thin crust tavern style, the real Chicago style pizza. And we're going to have ourselves a good old time. Italian beef with hot jarred tavern style cut pizza.
some Rosati's maybe.
I mean, we can go anywhere. You know, the Agostino's. We can go hell wherever, man.
Okay.
It's going to be delicious either way.
Something greasy, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think it definitely goes well with a lot of really greasy foods. But I think that it's just going to be a great pairing with it. Yeah, tooth and claw. Score wise, it's going to be wild, but I'm going 4.12.
Ooh. Okay.
I really like it, and again, like Off Color has quickly become one of my favorite kind of places to go. They have a lot of good, interesting beers. So try out Tooth and Claw. Try out Off Color Brewing. I think they are one of the better underrated Chicago breweries out there.
Cool. Awesome.
We're on to the next Lakefront beer.
Yep. We are doing the classic IPA, which now I'm thinking I kind of wish I would have saved this for our regular Lakefront episode, but
Still do it.
we'll find something else to drink. They got plenty of beer.
Never in it.
Exactly. Real quick, beer description is the Cascade, Chinook, and Citra hops give a nice bite, but this beer is well balanced with a full body and an agreeable malty flavor to round out any bitterness. I like that. Another great description, by the way. Looking at the bottle, it's, I don't know what the I is in IPA, but
maybe
I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's very simple but cool looking.
It is. Yeah, it's very simple looking. Very, I don't know, when I see like an IPA and I see green on it, I immediately think that it's going to be hoppy. I mean, we'll find out. But real quick, another little fun fact from Lakefront. They built all of their brewery equipment from used parts. So not only are they beer makers, but they're
they have engineering backgrounds too.
Engineer, well. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Helped you out there.
Right away, it definitely has that dark kind of malty IPA look to it. I feel like kind of on par with like the look of like an Anti-Hero, minus. I feel like it's less bubbles though. You know, not as much foam on top.
It's got a bit of like a orangish hue to it as well.
It does, especially if you bring it up to the light. To be honest. It definitely smells like your typical IPA. Probably a little more smooth though than like an Anti-Hero or like a Goose IPA. I want to say it almost. I don't know what the smell is. Okay, it does have citrus hops. I was gonna say a little like juicy or something, but that's probably the Citra hops.
More than likely.
Right. But
There's only one way to find out.
That is very hoppy. It is. It's definitely your typical IPA, I feel like. I feel like on the taste, I don't really get as much the Citra. I got it really more so from the smell. This is more so like hop forward, I would say.
Okay.
The ABV is 6.7, which is actually lower than the hazy IPA, surprisingly.
It is surprising.
Kind of noticed though, like a lot of Lakefront's beers are not really high in ABV. Like even the next one, a little spoiler alert,
They
is
do
6.8.
Yeah, they do tend to kind of like not overdo it with, and I think that's smart. I don't think you want to go over. I think there are some places that do go overboard with it.
Sure.
But no, they find the right balance with all their beers.
So the great thing is it's very drinkable. You know, on a lot of their beers, this is you could definitely have a few, and if you're an IPA person, you know, I definitely would recommend, because this is something that you could drink over the course of a day responsibly.
Always.
But yeah, I think just the lower ABV just makes it more drinkable, more crushable. I would say, but and especially if you like that hop forward bitterness, this is something up your alley.
Awesome. Okay.
Time of year.
Yeah, seasonal wise.
It's kind of tough. I feel like you could drink this year round, because a lot of people do drink IPAs year round. It's definitely, I feel like I do get a little more maltiness, and I associate that typically with like autumn or fall.
Okay.
Maybe November time, where it's starting to change to winter. But and then if you're gonna pair it with something, I would pair it with something that's you know, maybe lighter in taste, just because it is, you know, it's more hop forward. You don't want any of the food to overpower that hoppy bitterness, I would say.
Okay.
You know, I always think that any kind of like charcuterie board is great, but maybe like if you're looking for a cheese, don't look for something like, I don't know, like a blue cheese. Don't try something like that. Maybe a light American or something like that to go along with some maybe some pork. I don't want to say, I'm trying to think of like meats, because I don't want to say like a pepperoni or anything like that. Or I'm trying to think, kind of like lighter tasting meats, I guess.
I mean, I feel like, you know, if you look at like a salami or prosciutto, I think those are kind of two that you could go with.
Prosciutto is, yeah, that's perfect. I think prosciutto. I think salami might be, well, salami is pretty light, but I like prosciutto. I think that's a good call.
Food's my wheelhouse.
He's not even drinking the beer, and he knows the food there.
Yeah.
Rate wise, I'm usually not the biggest fan of you know, these hop forward, more bitter IPAs, but I do like this. I think it's pretty smooth too. So I am going to give this a 3.44.
4. Alrighty. Rob holding true to his word that the Hazy Rabbit is still his favorite of the Lakefronts. Awesome. Any last notes on the Lakefront IPA?
No, that's it.
Awesome. Alrighty. Moving on. Next up for me is Solemn Oath End All IPA. This thing's been sitting in my fridge for a while. This actually wasn't a curbside pickup. I picked it up at Benny's a while ago, and I just wanted to save it for the podcast and never got around to it, but here we are. Quick description here. Sunshine colored with haze for days. This hazy IPA boasts a juicy tropical fruit hop aroma with a massive orange citrus hop flavor. So kind of has like a bit of a hazy IPA kind of sound to it. So be interesting. On the can here, 6% ABV. So a little bit on the lighter side for an IPA.
Again, yeah.
Take a look at the can. If you start here, there's a snake, and it kind of wraps all the way around the can. So pretty cool. I I like the gold look of the can. I think that's just a really, really sweet look to it. Gold's a cool color, so. But let's.
Oh,
Pretty good.
I think that was better than your first one.
I'm getting better at this. All right. Not that I've had years of practice at doing it. Alrighty. Good look. Make sure I don't drop the glass. Definitely, definitely a little bit more cloudy than just like a normal IPA. You do kind of get that little orange hue. I think kind of a mix between orange and yellow. Smell wise, yeah, you definitely get that citrus smell right off the bat. Definitely kind of a very orange smell. Yeah, taste it, or not taste it. It smells pretty delicious. Yeah.
Nice foam head too.
Yeah, another good foam head. Definitely not as bubbly as the last one. You can't really see any. Surprisingly, yeah.
Usually you get more of a foam head with IPAs.
Yeah. Off color is just different. Just slaps that way. Let's get to the flavor because there really is only one way to find out. Okay. So I think it's kind of along the same lines as your IPA, where it did say it has citra hops, but I don't really get that citra taste. I think it is just more of that kind of standard IPA taste. You get a little hint of it, but I don't really taste it as much.
So it's not really a hazy IPA. It's more like hop forward.
I would definitely say hop forward. Yeah, I don't think they describe it as a hazy IPA, so.
Well, it does say in the description, this hazy IPA boasts a juicy tropical fruit aroma.
Oh, right. Huh. Hold on. It doesn't say it on the can, so I don't know. Who knows, man? Whatever. Yeah, I don't really get that much of I definitely get more of an IPA vibe from it than it does have that hazy element to it. I think if you were drinking like a hazy hero from Revolution, I think that kind of tastes similar, maybe just a little less citra on this end.
Which makes sense. I mean, a lot of Revolution beers are more hop forward than anything else. So that's a good comparison.
Thank you. Yet another one that would have been good instead of hazy is lazy. I'm mad about that one.
Same with Hazy Rabbit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, the taste is very good. It's very easy drinking, I would say.
What did you say? 6.82 for the ABV. So
6%.
Oh, 6% on the dot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah,
so it's definitely more a crushable IPA.
Absolutely. And I think it would just any hazy IPA, and especially hazy IPAs, where you do get more of that fuller feeling. I don't really get that with this. I think it is a lot more smooth than others, but it is tasty. Season wise, yeah, I would definitely go with the summertime. I think as you kind of start to drink it, you do get more of that tropical taste to it.
Okay.
But it's not as you don't get it as much as you would with other hazy IPAs, but still, excuse me, very delicious. Food wise, let's see, what can we go with? I mean, what have we kind of said about hazy IPAs? It can kind of really go with anything, but I think a barbecue would be good. I think if you went with a little pulled pork with like a kind of more sweeter sauce to it, maybe not like a super hot sauce, but kind of like a nice little like tangy kind of barbecue sauce on some pulled pork or some ribs. I think that would this would go really well with it. And score wise, I'm trying to remember what I gave Hazy Hero. Somewhere in the fours, I think. Maybe a 3.8. I don't know. It was a while ago, but maybe I have it on here. No. I'm gonna go with a 3.76. I think it's very, very tasty, very good.
Very Joe beer.
Yeah, I just don't. I think if you're expecting hazy, I don't think it's as tropical as others will be, but still a very solid beer and very, very drinkable.
Awesome. Alrighty. Anything else?
Nope.
Awesome. Okay. We're going to move on to my last lakefront beer here, and that is Fixed Gear. I really like the name of this. I also like the design on the bottle. I mean, it's a gear with like bicycle wheels. So, and then they're constantly like, it looks like they're constantly turning. So, that thing open. Real quick, a little fun fact, again, here on Lakefront, one of the brothers, and now I can't remember which brother it was, but one of the brothers built their own bottling system. So again, kind of going off of how I was saying that they built a lot of their brewery equipment. Well, they built even their own bottling system early on. So, I mean, really interesting. I mean, these guys are pretty smart. I mean, not considering like, you know, not only just their beer skills, but just their engineering skills.
Yeah.
So,
You don't see many engineers going into the brewing business, but I mean they've definitely made it work for themselves.
Absolutely. Beer description: the energy and audacity of the Fixed Gear Courier, which I'm actually not sure what that is, inspired us to create Fixed Gear, a big, bold American red IPA. I was kind of hoping for a little more description there, but that's just their website. Right off the smell, I feel like it kind of smells like an amber lager, to be honest. I mean, right away it reminds me of
Color thing is very, very amber.
Yeah, you look at the color right away. It's very it's a dark red,
yeah,
almost dark brownish red. So trying to see if I pick up anything else. I mean, it kind of smells like Killian's Red, if you guys know the Killian's Irish Ale, which I'm sure you do, but kind of smells like that a little bit. But if it has that, maybe it's something like that with an IPA bite, could make a very good beer. But
there's only one way to find out.
that is definitely very hoppy. That is, as they say, bold in the description. You definitely get that roasty bitterness on the back of your tongue, I feel like, that you definitely get from any of your IPAs. I don't know if you've tried this yet, Joe, the Fixed Gear, but I think it's something that you would like.
It might have been after a couple of other beers from them, so I remember it as well.
Right. Well, something we didn't talk about. Joe and I actually went on a brewery tour to this place.
This is a brewery that we've been to numerous times, actually. But yeah, we've
right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we both went a couple years ago. Went on a tour with them, so very cool.
It was a great tour. The tour guides are hilarious. You get plenty of free beer. They give. I made a very inappropriate comment about. I don't even know.
It was the bung hole.
It was the bung hole. Not a glory hole, which is what I said. So, but the guy gave me a free beer just for saying that. So, if that tells you anything about Lakefront Brewing,
I'm sorry. He was so confident.
It was a great time.
They're like, does anyone know what this is? And Rob's like, the glory hole. Go on.
We had a great experience. So I had about 5 or 6 beers in me already, so I was feeling pretty good.
We were feeling.
Anyways, this is I don't know. It's interesting. It definitely reminds me of Wisconsin because I feel like Wisconsin, a lot of their beers are very malty, kind of like your typical. I want to say like your typical German beer, where you get that malty kind of caramely taste to it in the back of your tongue, but it also counters with that bold bitterness from your typical IPA. So it's uh, I think it's a little bitter for my taste, but I don't think that should score against the beer. I still think it's very tasty. And if you're an IPA fan and you like German beers, you like malty, maybe like your typical box. I think it's kind of in between that, like an IPA and a Bock. So it's definitely tasty. Like I said, also amber lager ish, kind of has that similarities there. Like I said earlier, ABV 6.8. So again, pretty crushable. Maybe not taste wise. So unless you really really love that IPA bitterness, but it's like Joe. And if it's definitely a beer that you could drink over the course of the day, like the others. Food pairings, again, I really don't want to pair it with something overpowering. I think that it could go well with just even a classic cheeseburger, not really even much on it. Like with just a light American cheese or something, nothing too overpowering. And I think that kind of goes with a lot of IPAs as well. Nothing too overpowering because you don't want it to counter the beer in a bad way. Time of year, I'm really thinking wintertime. Definitely your classic Wisconsin winters when it's below 0 or whatever. This is something to cozy up with.
Nice.
And if I'm going to rate this, I think, like I said, it might not be my thing, but I think it's still a very good beer. For me personally, I'm going to give this a 3.17. It's not completely my type of beer, but I think it's still very tasty and it deserves that justice.
I think that speaks to Lakefront's just quality overall, that it's not really your beer and you still put it in the threes, which,
right.
Going off our scoring, that's a pretty good quality score. So,
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Awesome. Any last notes on any Lakefront beers or just that one particular?
I definitely have more Lakefront beers in the fridge, so I think I'll get maybe 1 or 2 of those on the next one. Go check them out. Support your local breweries. I made the drive to Milwaukee. Was not a bad drive at all. I mean, it's typically like an hour and a half. I got there in like an hour 15. I mean,
it's great.
Right. And yeah, there's it's kind of scenic a little bit. You can laugh at the funny billboards that you see. Just because of some Wisconsin beliefs out there, which I'm not going to go into. But you also see one of the signs from the Miller Brewing Company out there. So you see the Miller Lite sign. I think that's kind of cool. You also pass like Miller Park, and I also saw it was kind of interesting. I saw Leinenkugel's. I didn't think that they had a brewery open up in Milwaukee, but it looked like they did.
It is a subsidiary of Miller.
Okay, so maybe that's what I did see. So again, go to Milwaukee, make the trip, support the local breweries, support Lakefront.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just if you're truly bored sitting in your home, like get your mask on, get in the car, just drive around, go anywhere. Rob's been to Milwaukee. He's been to what is it in Three Floyds? Where is it at?
Indiana, Muncie.
Muncie, there we go. And then he was also in Bourbonnais this weekend. I mean, what kills 3-4 hours of your day, like, and you're doing something other than just sitting in your home. It's awesome. Right. I did it for when I did a bunch of curbside pickup in the city. I need to do it again because it was fun. It took up my whole day. It was awesome.
Right.
Got to just drive around, get out of the house. So if you're bored, go do it, man. And you're into alcohol, even if you're not, screw it. Go do it. Support a local business.
Absolutely. But at some point, we'll do it together.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll plan after this. We'll plan a little trip together. On to the last one here before I get on my soapbox and start ranting. Hopewell. I did a Hopewell beer a few weeks ago. Little Buddy. This is another one here. We have table salt. Can wise, I mean, there's really nothing to write home. I think it's just kind of like a painting. I don't know. Nothing really to like super write home about art wise. But let's give a quick description. It's 4.5% ABV. It is a Goes style sour ale brewed with French gray sea salt, lemongrass, lime leaf, and cardamom. Vibrant and punchy with a huge lemon lime aroma, followed by a gentle tartness and a touch of saltiness on the finish. Incredibly refreshing and easygoing. I'll be the judge of that. It's 3 for 3 here today.
Your first one kind of sucked.
No, it did. So pour there. Definitely even lighter than Tooth and Claw. I mean, this thing kind of looks like a I'm trying to think like a sparkling cider or something like a sparkling grape juice.
Champagne beer.
Yeah, definitely a champagne beer. Little bubbles, not a whole lot of foam head on this. Yeah, you can kind of see some of the bubbles coming up here, but very, very light. Smell wise, yeah, you definitely get that kind of fruity aroma. Definitely more of a lime than I would say the lemon, but definitely lime. Salt. Actually, I could see this kind of being similar to beer for tacos, which I've had, but from Off Color. But there's really only one way to find out. So let's get into it. Yeah, definitely similar along that line to beer for tacos. I didn't review it on the show. I did an impromptu, but it's definitely got that lime taste to it. It is refreshing. I will give it that. Definitely, I got a lot of lime on that one. Yeah, definitely tart. Not as tart as I was expecting, I think, but still pretty refreshing. I don't think it's overwhelmingly tart as well, which some sours do tend to get into that area of where it's just like I can't even drink this. Like it's so bitter and tart. Like I think this is very refreshing, very, very, very easy drinking. I mean, it's only 4.5%, so but it's good. Not too shabby from Hopewell. Trying to pinpoint some more flavors for you here. Definitely getting a lot of that lime and like kind of saltiness. Kind of, it is. I wish I was kind of doing beer for tacos with this one because I think these two are very, very similar in taste wise. Kind of like a margarita-y taste, I suppose, with that kind of lime and saltiness to it. So,
right. Wow.
It's like a tequila shot, but without the pain of a tequila shot.
Are you feeling like summertime around this?
Yeah, I would definitely go summertime. And then I think food pairing. I think this goes great with some tacos. You can get like street tacos, not hard shell, soft shell, really small. Kind of a. If we're going meat, let's go carne asada. Get a little cilantro and lime on there as well. With onion in there mixed in. Now I want some tacos. I think this is a very, very easy drinking, light, refreshing beer. Definitely if you're like on a beach somewhere, I think this is a good beer to have with it. Yeah, very, very tasty.
Awesome.
The more and more I drink of it, the more I enjoy of it. But yeah, definitely summertime. Definitely gonna have a plate of tacos with this. I think that goes really well together. I think those were made to be together. Score wise, I'm trying to remember what I scored beer for tacos, but it's probably gonna be in that same wheelhouse. Really enjoyable. Oh, excuse me. It's been really gassy today, I guess. Score wise, I think I'm gonna go 3.82. I think I didn't expect to like it as much as I did on that first drink, but as you drink it more, I think you really do start to like kind of pinpoint those flavors. Maybe I guess a little bit more lemon taste to it maybe would have helped, but I think it's just another very solid beer from Hopewell and very very enjoyable. We had probably one of our best all around rankings here on the show. All
Right.
none of them went below 315, so not
I'll
bad.
tell you what, I mean, those descriptions and, just watching you try those beers makes me want to go out and get those now. I mean, those
Yeah, I
sounds
would
like a
love to drink
tasty.
from Lakefront, man. I almost pulled the trigger on a few of them, but had too much. But no, yeah, 6 very good beers. Like we say, support your local breweries. You're gonna, if you're getting tired of the same old, go try some new beers. Go try some new stuff. Get out the house. Support local businesses. It's how we're gonna be able to keep these places open
Yeah.
post Corona world. So, um,
Yeah, we want to have our local breweries here when we go back to normal.
but it's
You
what
know,
keeps the big boys in check.
right.
Yeah, definitely give Lakefront, Off Color, Solemn Oath, and Hopewell. Give them all a check out. Drive to Wisconsin, drive into the city, try all these different beers. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Awesome. Well, shall we move on to
Absolutely. Move on to what is this, part 3 now of our Would Get a Drink With series, I suppose is what we're going to call it.
I believe so. So we're doing hockey and basketball this time.
Yes, well, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Rob and I aren't the biggest hockey or like we enjoy both sports. I think we enjoy hockey a lot, but we're more Blackhawks fans than we are hockey fans.
Correct.
Our knowledge is limited, so it may not be as thought-inducing as it was for football and baseball, which we know a little bit more about. In basketball, quite frankly, I hate what the NBA is now, so a lot of mine is old school stuff, but whatever.
Yeah, most of mine are too. I don't have one current player on my basketball list, to be honest. Spoiler alert. So, um, but which one do you want to start with?
Let's do hockey first.
Okay. Cool. I'll kick it off. My number 5 guy is a guy who's kind of feisty. I know he gives the Blackhawks hell. I do hate him when he plays against the Blackhawks, but the dude is just a feisty grinder type of player. He's a brooding grinder, you could say. But that's PK Subban. I like him a lot. I think the dude plays the game the right way. I think. I mean, he's tough. I think he'd be a fun guy to have a drink with. Probably has some good stories as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. One of the best defenders in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
Very good choice. Number 5 for me. I mean, I feel like it would be weird if I didn't have this guy on a hockey list, and that is Wayne Gretzky. I mean, it would be weird, right, if I didn't choose Wayne Gretzky.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to just say I had a drink. I don't even need to talk to him. Just to be like, yeah, I shared a drink with the great one. Like, I mean, I'm sure he has great stories from his days, but it would just be awesome just be in the presence of truly one of the greatest athletes of all time and the best hockey player of all time.
Right. Number 4 for me was Gretzky as well, and kind of just going off what Joe said. I mean, it's just you can't not have him on the list. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, just to be able to meet the guy even and share a drink with him.
Yeah.
Or not share, but have a drink with him.
Like, it could be a situation that you can't talk hockey with him. You just have to talk about be like, oh yeah, the arch molding in this building is great. Like, you can't talk hockey with him, but they would still be awesome.
What's your favorite IPA?
Yeah. The Canadian IPA. All right. Number 4 for me, you got to have a bruiser in there. I think those are the guys that are just the most fun to have a drink with. I went a little old school. He's actually currently a coach right now, and that is Craig Berube from he's the St. Louis Blues coach right now. his interviews with he was on a Pardon My Take. That was really funny. One of his speeches to the team was absolutely hilarious, just dropping f-bombs left and right. And he was he was a bruiser. He was an instigator. He was a goon. Those are the guys you want to get a drink with, and I think Craig Berube would be an awesome one, even though he's the coach for the Blues.
I like it. I'm going with a current player, a guy. Actually, I used to hate this guy, but then his team won the cup, and I just saw how great of a time they had after, and it looks like a blast to hang out with this guy, and that's Alex Ovechkin. I really did not like this guy. I couldn't stand him. I thought he was kind of overrated, to be honest. I'm not the biggest hockey fan, but after Washington won the cup, I mean, just he posted like on Instagram and all over how much fun he had. And I was like, I want to hang out with that guy now. I want to have a drink with that guy. So yeah, number 3, Alex Ovechkin.
Terrific choice. Number 3 for me, Ryan Miller, goaltender. He for a time was like the one of the most famous hockey players, just because he was the USA goaltender for that 2010 silver medal team, which was some of the funnest hockey I've ever watched. Was that 2010 Olympics? I would love just to talk about that kind of that atmosphere. That was one of the best USA hockey teams we've ever seen. Again, one of the best like hockey Olympics we've ever seen.
Kind of like the dream team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was like the dream, and it wasn't just the dream team in America. It was also the dream team in Canada and Russia, like some of the best. So we'd love to hear stories about that. He was a very good goaltender all around for a long time. Fun fact, my buddy and I, we used to have a Facebook account as Ryan Miller, and people would be like, "You're not Ryan Miller," and then we'd know enough baseline information to convince them that it was like, yeah, it was. And then
we were catfish.
Yeah. Oh, we were catfish. Well, I mean, we never asked for money or anything. We're just fucking around. We were in high school.
Right.
But yeah, people are stupid. I had to stop doing it because I would just like go on and get 90 messages, and I was like, this sucks. But yeah, Ryan Miller, number 3 for me.
Awesome. Number 2, I'm going with a guy who is kind of a party animal. I don't want to say kind of. He actually is a party animal. But the dude has played for decades on decades, and I can't believe how long he played. And that's Jaromir Jagr. The guy, I mean, you follow him on social media. It's kind of like Ovechkin. He has a lot of fun. And the guy is, I mean, how old is he now? I think he's in his 50s, but he played up until he was like 49 or something.
Yeah, and yeah, you don't really see that a lot in hockey. And like, not only was he playing at 49, he was playing at a high level. He was like the
Right.
leading goal scorer. Yeah, he would be a lot of fun. Number 2 for me, Rob stole him already. Alexander Ovechkin, like you said, like it was a pure joy to watch him just go absolutely bonkers after they won the cup. He's sitting in fountains he's at the Washington National games, and then later on he's in his Nationals gear with the cup in a fountain, just getting sprayed with water while he's drinking out of the cup. I mean, that guy just. I mean, any crazy Russian sounds fun to drink with it, at a certain point. So, yeah, definitely. I wasn't the biggest fan of him, but then kind of once I like started to appreciate his game, and then he really kind of confirmed it for me when he won the cup that he was a fun guy to drink with.
Absolutely. My number 1, I'm going with my Blackhawks choice, my one Blackhawks choice, and that is Patty Kane. It's Kaner. He's just my favorite player, but I feel like I have to have him on the list. The dude knows how to party. He's a great time. Would love to meet him, even if it wasn't even just for a beer. I just want to meet him. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's my reason for number one.
Awesome. Number for me is also my Blackhawk player. This was tough. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good classic ones. Bobby Hull, Jeremy Roenick, Tony Esposito. Then there's current guys, Kane, Taves, Patrick Sharp, Marion Hossa, Andrew Shaw, Coach Q. All good choices, but one of like my favorite Hawks of all time, Duncan Keith. Duncan Teeth. Would love to talk to Duncan Keith. I think he's one of the funnier guys on the Hawks team. Would love to just hear what he was thinking about when his like 4 of his teeth just got knocked out and he missed one freaking shift. I mean, guy's tough. He's funny. He's awesome. And Duncan Keith, one of my favorite hockey players of all time, is my choice.
Awesome. Any honorable mentions?
Yeah, so Zdeno Chara from the Bruins, Tim Thomas as well from that 2011 championship team, Marty McSorley, another kind of goon, Joe Thornton from San Jose. I think those are all guys that I would put on the short list of having a drink with. What about
you? I had one of the guys from back in the day with the Hawks, from the first championship team, actually went to our high school. Dustin Bufflin is just tough son of a bitch. I mean, the guy I would never pick a fight with. I would love to meet that guy. Little fun fact, my sister actually went to high school with him, so she used to eat lunch with him. But yeah, I would definitely love to talk to that guy. Other guy, Marty Brodeur, the goalie, so long time goalie. The guy is just one of the best of his era, and I would love to have a beer with him as well.
Absolutely. Good choices. Very good choices. On to basketball. You want me to go first on basketball?
Go ahead.
Number 5 for me, this guy, old school guy. He cracks me up. I don't really listen to him a lot, but cracks me up is Bill Walton. Like, he probably like doesn't remember that he played basketball. So like if you get in a drink with him, he'd be like, oh man, look at the stars out there. Like he would just be so weird. The guy eats like candles and shit. It's hilarious. That's the kind of guy I want to get a drink with. Just be so incredibly weird, but at the same time, Bill Walton's an easy choice for me.
That's a great choice, and I completely forgot about him. Dude did broadcast. Did color commentary for a Sox game once, and it's hilarious. I don't know what the hell that guy was.
Every ball that was hit, whether it was a ground ball, a foul ball, or one in the air, like he thought it was a home run, and it would be a lazy fly ball that the shortstop catches in very short left field.
No, it was blasted to the moon. Yeah.
That was blasted to the moon.
Great choice. Number 5, I went with the guy that I think I came to like even more after watching the Last Dance documentary. It sounds like he's got like great stories. I mean, he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. That's Magic Johnson. I would like to get a beer with him, just hear even more. Like, I'm sure he has even more MJ stories too, and that's part of it as well. So my reason for number 5.
Awesome. Number 4 for me, this is my Bulls player right here. Now, I could have gone MJ, I could have gone Scotty, I could have gone Rodman, I could have gone Bill Jackson, could have even gone D Rose and Joakim Noah.
I think I know where this is going.
I want to guess the grain. I wanted a guy from kind of the era that I really enjoyed watching the Bulls. Right before D Rose, it's Ben Gordon. I think he was. Oh, who'd you think?
I thought it was Captain Kirk.
No, Ben Gordon. Ben Gordon was my favorite, man. Your guy. Ben Gordon. I would love to hear kind of the stories from the Scott Skiles days. I think that was kind of like right. Yeah, it was right before the Bulls kind of legit championship runs, but they had a really fun team back then with Ben Wallace and Kirk Heinrich and all those kind of guys. I would love to get a drink with Ben Gordon. I think he's one of those very underrated Chicago sports athletes, but still a very enjoyable player to watch.
Like it. Ben Gordon was definitely one of my favorites back in the day. Number 4, I'm going with one of my favorites just in the NBA back in the day. I thought this dude just played the game the right way. I love to see him win I love when he did win a championship finally, and that was Steve Nash. Seeing him with the Suns, he was just one of my favorite players from that era, from growing up, and I think the guy was just a great all around point guard. So I'd love to have a drink with him.
He was a very fun player to watch for sure. Number 3 for me is one of the most awesome players, and kind of in like retrospect, it's just some of the legends. Like he maybe is a little overlooked. And that's AI, Allen Iverson. We're talking about practice. I think he was such an exciting player to watch in his prime, and like he was so cold blooded that I'm sure he has tons of awesome stories. Like he he's kind of like a bit of a shit talker as well. So definitely going Allen Iverson. I think he was one of my favorites to watch as a kid, and would love to get a drink with him.
Awesome. I like it. For number 3, I'm going with one of Steve Nash's former teammates, and then Steve left. But one of the guys who's a big man who could do everything, and that's Dirk Nowitzki. That guy was awesome. I loved seeing him and the Mavs beat the Heat, and that the first time that the Heat made it to the championship with the Big Three. That was a great series to watch, and I really like Dirk. The guy can do everything. I mean, he could hit the three. He could play defense. Obviously, he could dunk. He was a big dude. So would love to meet that guy.
Awesome. Quick fact check here. Steve Nash never won a title as a player. Just saying.
I thought the Suns won.
Nope.
Wow.
Rob, you want to go ahead and give your number 2? You'll see why when I give my number 2. So go ahead and give me your number 2.
Okay. All right. My number 2 is actually the one Bulls guy I have on here. And I'm a little scared to pick this guy because I don't know what kind of shit we would get into. But that is Dennis Rodman. I mean, the guy just –
you might not survive.
I don't know. Yeah, I might not. But if I did, it would make the best story ever.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's my reason. That's my reason for number 2.
All right. So number 2 for me, I'm actually going number 1 and number 2. These guys deserve to be together. I would want to get a drink with both of these guys together. And that is Shaq and Charles Barkley. I don't even need to talk. All I need is for them to get drunk and just shit on each other the entire time. Like it's a segment on I don't even know what their segment is on TNT. But I think those two are so hilarious. I mean, even separate, they're hilarious, but I think together, just those two just shitting on each other, and also the stories that they have. I mean, Charles Barkley played in the best era of the NBA, and Shaq was the tail end of that era, as well as kind of another great era of that 2000 through 2004 Lakers team. Yeah, I think those two together would be awesome, and maybe, just maybe, if I'm lucky enough, I get in a General commercial. So that is my choice for number 1 and 2.
Awesome. I like it. God damn it. My number 1 choice is Shaq. I love Shaq. I think everyone loves Shaq. That guy is.
Except for Kobe for a little while. They're good now. Except for Kobe during that time. But, yeah.
Right. But Shaq is just like, that's a guy I definitely want to go out and have a drink with. I mean, the guy DJs in Las Vegas. Like our mutual friend Pat has gone to his club, told us about it. I can't believe Shaq DJs in Vegas. That's crazy to me.
Shaq has his own soda. Like, Shaq, everywhere. He owns Papa John's now. He was in the Tiger King documentary. he is literally like the Renaissance man of our era. Now,
He's
is he
everywhere.
talented at some of these things? No, but he's in all of them.
So yeah, that would he'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Shaq would be so much fun. I mean, and I said like Shaq and Charles Barkley together, but like I would take both of those guys separately as well. Shaq's also one of those guys who like he's just super chill. Like he won't like get too crazy, but like he'll just like he'll just silently sit back in the bar and he'll be drinking. He'll like finish 3 pitchers by himself and be totally normal. But yeah, what's up, man? Like, wow. Yeah.
His commercials are hilarious.
Yeah, his commercials are hilarious. Absolutely. Any honorable mentions for you?
Obviously I had MJ, but I don't think I feel like MJ would just get too competitive and want to outdrink me, and I would lose. So
Yeah, I would. It wouldn't even be about drinking. It would be he would, and I have a gambling problem, so like he would be like, oh, you want to bet like 10 grand that I don't have? He'd be like, you want to bet 10 grand? I can like make 10 free throws in a row, and I'm like, yeah, let's fucking do it, MJ. And then say 20 in a row, and I don't know 20,000. Like I would be broke if I hung out with Michael Jordan.
Right. The other guy is Larry Bird, just another great of his era, kind of like Magic, probably has great stories as well. Not only was the guy one of the, greatest players of all time, he also coached, so I'm sure he has great stories from there too. My last guy is, I'm trying to remember if this was his name. I think this was his name, and Delonte West.
Mm-hmm. With yeah.
And you know the reason why.
Oh yeah. Anybody who doesn't like LeBron James would love to get a drink with Delonte West.
Right. So if you don't know the rumor, Delonte West.
Just look it up.
What?
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up actually. Just look up LeBron James, Delonte West, and yeah, you'll find a good story there.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, the only current player that I even thought about was Joel Embiid. I think that guy's hilarious. He is like the ultimate shit talker of the NBA right now. I think he'd be fun. Like I said, there were a lot of current and former Bulls that like I would love to get a drink with, but MJ I would be broke. Scotty, he kind of seems like a bummer sometimes. Phil Jackson would probably just like try to teach me some Indian teachings. Dennis Rodman, I would die. So not going to do that. I was on the Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar would be a fun one. And then kind of from kind of after that era, Kevin Garnett and Tracy McGrady. I think those were two just great players. Kevin Garnett was one of my favorite players growing up. I think he was just such an awesome. I'm glad that he got his shot to win a championship with the Celtics. It's also great in Uncut Gems. And then Tracy McGrady. I really wanted the Bulls to get was Tracy McGrady. I think there was always rumors that he was going to be a Bull. Unfortunately, he really was never. Okay, in his prime. We're not talking.
Yeah, no, but I was just going to say, I think from the Last Dance, they said the rumor was that Scottie Pippen was going to be traded for him.
Correct. Yeah. It was in '96 or something. Yeah, it was.
It almost went through.
But yeah, I think Tracy McGrady was one of those guys that I've always respected and always enjoyed watching, and I wish maybe not at the expense of Scottie Pippen, but just like that he was on a Bulls team and maybe could have been like that. The guy who could have been given the torch and ran with it. So,
right,
yeah, definitely, T-Mac. But that's our list.
That's our list.
We'll think of our next plan of action here with who we want to get a drink with next. But
right,
then, Rob, want to close this out?
Absolutely. I think next time I am going to bring on some Brickstone stuff because of the trip I made out there. But to close out, as always, we invite you to come and drink these beers along with us. Support your local breweries.
Please drink responsibly.
And cheers.
Cheers.